Hello, my name is Dennis, and welcome to my trailer park white trash mobile home kitchen. I really do live in a mobile home, in a trailer park, and this is my kitchen. Now that we've gotten through the end of the year holidays, I thought I would kind of move back a little bit, relax back a little bit, and talk about some of the basics that I think you might want to know as far as recipes for your kitchen, such as today I'm going to make marinara sauce or spaghetti sauce. Now I know there are a lot of spaghetti sauces out there, and I'm not going to try to say that mine is the definitive spaghetti sauce, but I'm hoping I can teach you some tricks that will make it easier to make spaghetti sauce, some tricks that I learned from an Italian chef. And spaghetti sauce is one of those things, marinara sauce is one of those recipes that you'll go back to again and again and again. I think it's a good sauce to make during the winter time. You can not only put it on spaghetti and pasta, but you can thicken it and make pizza with it. In a Julia Child French chef video, I saw her put some on eggs. Okay, not something I would have thought of, but why not give it a try? So it's a basic, and I think it's something that everyone might enjoy having in their arsenal of recipes. So for my marinara sauce, let's get into the ingredients that I use in this recipe. When making marinara sauce, obviously the tomatoes are a very important ingredient. Most chefs would agree that San Marzano tomatoes are the best. I like Tyler Florence, but hey, any of us can make mistakes. On one of his TV shows, he held up a can like this and said, "Be sure to always use real San Marzano tomatoes." It looked exactly like this. Tyler, I hate to find fault, but if you read the small print, it says, grown domestically in the USA. The San Marzano is just the brand name to fool people into thinking they're buying real San Marzano tomatoes. Look for the small print. What I buy at the Italian market is the stuff that says product of Italy. These are real San Marzano tomatoes imported from Italy. I bought this small can, so I'd have something roughly the same size to show you with this can, but when I buy my tomatoes, I buy the big can. This is the can that I like to get. I think this is called a number 10 size can. This is 90 ounces. I make a lot of spaghetti sauce, and then what I do is I put it in Ziploc bags, small 1-quart Ziploc bags, and put them in the freezer. So this is the size that I buy. Now, you don't always have to use those ingredients. I'm going to show you what I did one time to cheat. I was making, there goes a plane. Yes, I live near the airport and near the railroad tracks. Ah, the joys of living in a trailer park. At least it didn't drop any bombs. Okay, I made some eggplant parmesan for some guests one time, and one of them at the table said, "You made your own sauce, didn't you?" I said, "Yes, I did." I could tell. It tastes homemade. Well, I didn't tell her what I did to make my own sauce. I literally did this. I took a jar of this and a jar of this. I poured them both into one big jar, mixed it up, and that was my homemade spaghetti sauce. I mean, I made it myself, okay? It was made, but the thing is, this has too sweet of a flavor. This has too herby a flavor. So by combining the two, I got a nice flavored spaghetti sauce that it had enough complexity that it tasted like homemade. My guests were fooled. So, I mean, you don't have to go through all the work of making a homemade spaghetti sauce if you want, but again, it's I think a good skill to have. So let's get into my ingredients for my spaghetti sauce. The ingredients are what you would expect from a homemade Italian marinara sauce. If I were using small cans, I would be using 3 of these. These are 35 ounces each. This large one is 90 ounces, so it's almost 3 times this can. I want 1 cup of packed fresh basil, 1/2 cup of packed fresh parsley, 6 to 8 cloves of garlic, then 1 medium-sized yellow onion. I'm going to show you a trick with that. And I like to use a can of tomato paste with mine. Then I have 1 tablespoon of oregano, dry oregano, and then I'm going to be putting in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You can, if you want to, use some crushed red pepper. If you like it a little bit on the spicy side. I don't. And then I'm going to be using some olive oil in this. So those are the ingredients I use for my spaghetti sauce. Okay, here's trick number 1. Do you know people who like to put sugar in their spaghetti sauce? A lot of people do. It rounds out the flavor, makes it smoother. I have a trick for that. Since I'm going to be using onions anyways, why not use caramelized onions? When I buy onions, I buy the big 10-pound bag at the warehouse store, and then I'll spend a few hours. It takes me about 3 hours to caramelize all those onions, and then I break them up into little plastic packs of about 1/2 onion each in those little packs. Then when I need onion, I pull out one of these and I've got caramelized onion. If you've ever tasted caramelized onion, it tastes sweet. If I use raw onion in my sauce, it has an oniony flavor to it that I find a little bit offensive. But by using caramelized onion, I do 2 things. One is I get some sweetness into it, and I get rid of that oniony flavor that I find objectionable. So that's one trick for you. Use caramelized onion. If you want to caramelize your own onion, slice it up, chop it up, whatever, put it in a skillet with some olive oil, and then cook it on a medium-low heat for about 20, 25, maybe even 30 minutes, turning it often, and then till it'll start to turn a dark color. After all the water boils off, it'll start to get thick and turn a dark color. That's what you want, that brown caramelized look. So that's how to caramelize onions, and that's what I use as caramelized onions. A number of years ago, I had an opportunity to watch a friend of mine make a lot of spaghetti sauce. She had volunteered to make a number of trays of lasagna for a gathering that she was invited to, and I watched her make pot after pot after pot of sauce, and she was using a little garlic crusher and putting pieces of garlic in and crushing it. And then about a year later, I got to learn trick number 2 from an Italian chef, the blender. The chef did everything in a blender. The tomatoes, the garlic, the basil, the parsley, the onions, everything went into a blender and got all whirred up, and that went into the sauce. A big pot of sauce could be put on the stove in minutes by using a blender. So that's what I'm going to use, and I'm going to show you how to do that. This next step is a bit messy, so I put my apron on. I bought this stainless steel spoon just for making spaghetti sauce. It was expensive. It cost me like $28 for a single spoon, but you know, it's perfect for what I want it for. And then some garlic, some basil leaves, parsley. Gonna open my onions here. And squirt some onion in there. Put it all in. It's not going to make much difference. Okay. And then put the cap on and high for, I'm going to do it for an 8 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there is my completely mixed up spaghetti sauce. Garlic is all chopped, the onion is all chopped in there, the basil and the parsley is all chopped. So into my cooking pot, and then just keep going until all of this is chopped up. And that took literally like 5 minutes. There's all my chopped up tomatoes and my herbs. This is ready to go on the stove. As far as how to cook this, some people like to cook their spaghetti sauce a short amount of time because they want to preserve that fresh tomatoey flavor. Some people will cook it for 2 or 3 hours because they want all the flavors to blend together. And they want a richer, more robust spaghetti sauce. I'm probably going to cook this between an hour and a half on the stove on low. Once I get it going, I'll simmer it on low, and that should be enough for me. Okay, so I have my sauce heating on the stove. This is the point at which I put in my tomato paste. I didn't need to chop this up in the blender, obviously, because it's already smooth. And my leaf oregano. And then what I'll do once this comes up to a boil and I want to simmer it, because I want to protect this from scorching on the bottom, what I like to do is put a second grate or hob over the burner and then put the pan on that, and that raises it off the heat more so that it protects it from scorching on the bottom. And again, this will go on, once it comes to a boil, reduce the heat to low, and I'm going to go from 1.5 to 2 hours maybe on this. What do you think of that spoon, huh? That nice long-handled spoon? I bought that as well, specifically to make marinara sauce. Okay, I'm about ready to elevate this off the heat. And then reduce the temperature to low. I'm going to cover this. One thing you do want to be mindful of is you do have to stir this often, because if it scorches on the bottom and starts to burn, it'll ruin the flavor of the whole sauce. So do be mindful that you have to stir it occasionally. And I'm going to set my timer here for 1.5 hours. And then that should be done. My timer has gone off. So this should be done. I do want to taste it. Some people get all bent out of shape if you put a spoon in your mouth and then later on put it back in the pan. So here's the trick. I have a red spoon, red-handled spoon. That red means danger, danger, Will Robinson, aliens approach. This goes in my mouth, but it doesn't touch anything that I'm tasting. So I just pour some of my sauce into that. And then, this is going to be hot. Taste it. Oh, that's better than I thought it was going to be. That one took me by surprise. I mean, I know I'm a good cook, but this is a masterpiece. Mm. Oh, that's good. Oh, Lordy, I gotta hold myself up. That is good. Okay, so there it is. Marinara sauce. Use this in your favorite Italian recipe, lasagna, spaghetti, whatever. Great sauce. That's marinara. For a printable PDF copy of this recipe with step-by-step photographs, visit the White Trash Cooking website and look on the home page or in the recipe archive.